Hey guys, today I'm very excited to share with you this famous meat pie recipe. This pastry dish is best served warm right out of the oven. It has a very flavorful meat mixture and the dough is so delicate. Meat and dough, what can go wrong? Let's make it together. First thing I want to do for the dough is mix the warm water with the yeast and a little bit of sugar, and I set it aside. I'm gonna start making my dough, and it's gonna be 4 cups of all-purpose flour, and it's gonna be a looser dough. It's not gonna be a tough dough. And I'm gonna add to that the salt, 1 tablespoon of salt, and 3 tablespoons of dry powdered milk. I mix and I add a little bit of vegetable oil, 1 teaspoon of sugar, 1 tablespoon of instant yeast, and 1.5 cups of warm water. And I can see the yeast mixture has bloomed nicely. So I want the dough to be loose. I need it for about 5 minutes. I used about 1.25 cups of warm water. I cover and let it sit for 2 hours. Meanwhile, I'm gonna work on the meat mixture. Here I have some grass-fed beef, 85%. I add to that 2 cloves of garlic and a little bit of sweet green peppers. And this red pepper is very spicy. I add as much or as little as I want. And a little bit of chili paste, 1 whole onion, sweet onion, tomato paste, and 6 to 7 Roma tomatoes that I processed in the food processor, some pomegranate molasses, salt, pepper, and a touch of cinnamon, and I mix. After I mix, I add 1 tablespoon of vinegar, red wine vinegar or balsamic vinegar, it doesn't matter. And as always, you'll find all the ingredients and all the amounts in the description box below. And I want to mention that you don't need to peel your tomatoes before adding them to the food processor. And don't skip on the molasses. It'll add all the flavor to the meat. And I place the meat in a strainer on top of another bowl because I don't want any extra liquids from the tomatoes and the onions. I set the meat aside and I work on the dough. Here I brush the pan with a little bit of vegetable shortening, not butter, because the butter can burn in the pan. And I start forming small balls from the dough. I don't mess with the dough too much, just form small balls. I let the balls rest for 15 minutes and then I spread the dough just like so, but it needs to rest for 15 minutes before I do this step. Your dough should be very soft and very workable. Now I add a generous amount of meat all over the dough, and I spread it and I try to push it inside the dough nicely. The dough is resting one more time and the oven is heating. I heat the oven to a very high temperature, 500 degrees. And I'm gonna bake the dough. I want the meat to stay juicy, but the dough to crisp up. If you like it crispy, if you like it softer, it's totally up to you. You can do both. You can leave it a little less in the oven. I find by baking in a hot oven, the meat stays juicy and the dough crisps up just the right way. The only step before placing in the oven is adding a touch of black pepper, a touch of unsalted butter, and pine nuts, and it's optional. Don't forget to follow me on social media. Sometimes I post some quick recipes and quick ideas. The links are going to be in the description box below. Here goes the first tray of the meat pies and it smells heavenly. I hope you give them a try soon, and until next time, bon appetit!